it is true that sex is dangerous, right? It's high risk. Pregnancy is dangerous. Having kids is obviously more dangerous for women than for men for obvious for obvious reasons, right? Do you think there's a way in which virtual life makes like physical, carnal, painful human life seem more dangerous than it would have?
Let me say, I think that's an interesting hypothesis. But I think you see young people still doing things that are painful. So whether it's young women, trying to get an Instagram face and having fillers and Botox and painful things, or men spending, painful times at the gym being secular monks. People do painful stuff. I think the more direct causal link is people spending time on their phones and then feeling anxious about chatting to people at the bar.
But maybe not pain, right? Okay, yes, people are willing to go through painful processes of, calisthenic activity and facial surgery and so on. But both of those things for men and women are attempts to sort of retain a kind of eternal youth, right? And in that sense, sorry, I'm just trying to push us a tiny bit into the philosophical, right? But like the act, I had hair, right, before I started having kids, right? Like the entering into parenthood is inherently a confrontation with your own mortality. Maybe.
I certainly think that people seem to be wanting to extend the freedoms and the lack of responsibility in their 20s. And let's add that, for example, in my interviews with Latin American men, many are saying to me that they don't necessarily want marriage and kids because it comes with those responsibilities.
Right.
And I think this could be even more salient than the pain of pregnancy. Like, imagine if you're a guy in a pretty crappy labor market with, lots of informal labor, lots of insecurity, lots of massive financial shocks and crises and inflationary pressures. And you're like, do I want to commit to a woman and say that we're going to raise 2 kids together and feel all that strain and responsibility? Or do I just want to chill out and play Call of Duty? And that's a hugely important and undertold aspect of this global story.